In today's video, we are going to talk about the reimbursement health insurance claims process. Now, what is the reimbursement claims process? Fundamentally, when you have spent money for healthcare services which you believe should be covered under the health insurance policy and you want to get that money back from the insurance company, everything that happens in that process is called a reimbursement claims process. Now, reimbursement claims can be classified into two main categories. The first category of a reimbursement claim is the main hospitalization claim. Now, main hospitalization claim can be filed as a reimbursement in many cases. Either the hospital that you went for treatment to was not in the cashless panel of your insurance company or your TPA, or even if it was under the cashless panel, for a variety of reasons, most common being that there were delays in the approval process, you have paid up at the hospital and now you want that money back from the insurance company. So that's called a main claim. Then the other type of reimbursement claims are what are called pre and post hospitalization claims. Most of the policies say that typically 30 days before the date of admission or 60 days after the date of discharge, all expenses you have incurred which were directly correlated for the reason for which you got hospitalized, they are also payable. So somebody is unwell, goes to a doctor, the doctor takes some doctor consultation charges from you, he prescribes you some medicines, he prescribes you some tests, again you end up spending money. Similarly, after the date of discharge, you go back to the doctor for follow-up consults, you keep taking medicines, sometimes you have to repeat tests and so on and so forth. These are pre and post hospitalization expenses, they are also payable. Some of the policies can cover, instead of 30-60, can cover 60-90, 90-120 days also, but please do check your document, your policy document for the exact coverage under your policy. Now, how do you file for a reimbursement claim? Now you've already spent money at the hospital. The moment you spend money at the hospital, at the time of discharge, the hospital is going to give you some documentation. What is that documentation? First and foremost, the hospital will give you a discharge summary. And mind you, all documents that are going to be payable back to you as a reimbursement will only happen on the back of original documentation. Please see our other video in case you've lost documentation on how do you still claim. Along with the original discharge summary, you are going to get investigation reports. All the investigations that were carried out will come with reports. So typically blood tests, stool tests, urine tests, biopsies, they'll all have reports. In radiological investigation tests, so for example CT, MRI, X-ray, ultrasound, ECG, you will also get a film. The film is the basis for a radiologist to make a report. So the film in original. The third document you will get from the hospital is a bill. The bill talks about all the expenses incurred at the hospital for the treatment, which are in four broad categories: the room rent and the ICU, the investigations, the blood tests, the MRIs, the CT scans, the doctor's charges, surgeon charges, and so on and so forth. And last is the drugs and consumables given to the patient. Now, on which date, what was given, what is the MRP of that, how many units of that was billed is mentioned in the detailed breakup. So there will be a detailed hospital bill breakup and there will be a summary breakup together. So you will get that in original. One of the things you always want to check is all the investigations that have been billed individually in that hospital bill. Please see that you have reports for those investigations in original. And as I had mentioned earlier, the radiological investigations, CT, MRI, X-ray, ultrasound and all that, you also have the films along with that. So you get the bill. The moment you pay the money, the hospital will give you a receipt. Please take these documents with you and file it with the insurance company along with a claim form. The claim form will be available at the insurance company's website. Now you fill up that claim form will have the kind of costs you've spent, the date of admission, date of discharge, the doctor's name, hospital address, the patient name, the patient policy number, the cashless ID card number. All these documents, the claim form, the discharge summary, the bill, the receipt and all the investigation reports, and in some cases the films, all these documents, file it with the insurance company. Typically, claim submission has to be done within 30 days from the date of discharge for the main claims. For pre and post claims, it is within 30 days of the last treatment taken. So, if post hospitalization you've been spending money up to 60 days, within 30 days of that. In case of post hospitalization, the last treatment taken was on the 28th day. So, within 30 days of the 28th day, you need to file that. So, all these documents, please file it with the insurance company or the TPA. Now, what happens? Now, what happens is that the TPA gets these documentations. Let's talk about the main claim. They will pull out your policy records. They will look at the discharge summary and they will say whether or not this treatment is covered under the policy terms and conditions. Whether the expenses that the hospital has charged all of them are covered under insurance policy. In some policies, there is a capping on certain treatments. There is a capping on room rents. In some cases, there are co-payments and so on and so forth. So first they will do a non-medical scrutiny wherein they will see whether this patient is the same as the beneficiary or the policy holder, all the demographic details are matching, the name is matching, date of birth is matching, photo ID card is in place. Then they will look at the hospital charges. Then they will look at the medical side of the documentation, whether this treatment is covered. And finally the billing guys will adjudicate that claim, saying that this is the amount payable. Once that is given, then they will transfer the amount directly into your account. Now in the hospital documentation, along with the 6 items that I told you, you also need to provide them with your bank details. The law says that the insurance company upon processing will directly transfer the amount into your bank. So you need to give a cancelled check, you need to give your bank account details and so on and so forth. Please give it to them. The cancelled check, please make sure it has a printed name of the policy holder on it. Now, the law says that the reimbursement claim needs to be settled within 30 days from the date of submission. Sometimes it so happens that the insurance company may not have all the information to pay fully the reimbursement claim. So they will generate something called a query. A query is a request for further clarification, further documentation. You need to get that query. Often it will be sent to you on an email. Sometimes an SMS notification will also be triggered to you. Please look at that query. Please respond to that query as soon as you can. The moment you respond to that query, the insurance systems will capture LDR, last document received date. The 30-day time period for reimbursing a claim or settling a claim starts from the last document received date in case of queries.